and salutations, folks. Welcome to this week's episode of Inside Indiana Volleyball. I'm Pierce Cavanaugh, joined by Coach Sherry Dunbar, as usual. Coach, a little different this week, coming off the first road trip of the year. I just want to get into this right now. It's a difference between a home environment and a road environment that is immediately apparent when actually spending the time on the road. How do you focus your team to tune out all those extra distractions?
Well, I think first of all, going down to Charleston and we'll go to North Carolina and Duke coming up next weekend. But it's nice to be able to do a few things. We tried to go to the Battery so they could see the water and the big mansions down there, and do a couple things on King Street, which is kind of a Kirkwood, if you can compare it to something in Bloomington, which is hard to do.
Different animal.
But you try to show them a few things because otherwise you might as well stay at home. So we tried to give them a feel of what Charleston was like. But we also have to make sure they get their proper rest and they stay on a schedule. So the first 4 weeks are very similar. Shane does a great job, our director of operations, of planning everything beforehand. They get the itineraries. Melanie Hicks is kind of in charge of organization on the road. She's part of our leadership council and does a great job with that. So I think once they get in there, they kind of just follow the schedule and we make sure they get enough rest.
Is there a difference in your approach where there's more opportunity for both control and for things to creep in that wouldn't normally be there? Do you take a different role, and does the coaching staff do a little extra that they would not normally do back here in Bloomington?
I don't think we do extra. We're always doing things the entire weekend. It gives us a chance to be together a little bit more. So when we come back late at night, we sit down in the lobby of the hotel and talk about the match and maybe talk about some things we want to do different. Maybe watch a little bit of individual film with the players more than we can at home because they're with us all the time. Did a little bit of team study hall on Saturday in between matches, and things like that. So it gives us an opportunity maybe just to be together a little bit more than obviously our home schedule allows.
And there were a lot of things, grammatical correctness, always important here. The two matches, especially first off, a lot of things to like there. 2 wins, getting IU a good start on the road in that unfamiliar environment, and plenty of positives to go with those. Just what did you see from those? What did you take away?
Well, I thought consistency was Morgan Leach all weekend. I just thought she was fantastic and did a really good job of, last weekend she was okay, but not the player we've been seeing in practice. And I thought this weekend she was dominant. And not just with her play, but I thought she was engaged all the time. She was competitive during every point. I don't think she let what people were doing around her affect her play, and I thought that was fantastic. And Caitlin Hansen, I thought, had another good weekend. I still think she can find more digs for us and things like that, but I thought leadership-wise, she was very steady the entire weekend. And I also thought Katie Gallagher had a good weekend. So there were some players that consistently played well the entire weekend, and I think that's a big plus for us.
Consistency was a good thing to see. You also, unfortunately, suffered the first loss of the season. College of Charleston, playing in their home arena, dispatched Indiana in 4 sets. The way that they played and the way that your team played, just what were some of the takeaways that you had there? What are some things that you're going to be focusing on to go into this next weekend?
Well, I think, first of all, College of Charleston has a great program, and they've consistently gone to the tournament. They might only lose a couple of more matches the entire year, so it wasn't like that we lost to a bad team, or we lost to a very experienced team. They're old, a lot of juniors and seniors. They know how to play. Darcy Dorton played at Penn State and was MVP of the Final Four as a freshman, and after tearing her ACL, ended up transferring, but did a great job for them. So, that was a very good team, and we knew we were going to have to step up. It's on their home court. They wanted to beat a Big Ten team, so there was a lot of positives for them going into that match. Again, I thought Morgan had a great match, and I really thought our middles as a whole, Awele, Morgan, Shantae, all really hit over 300 and produced when we needed them to produce. I think the glaring things that stood out was our passing. Our serve receive really struggled. For us to be in system and get those 3 more balls, we needed to pass better. And then I think our pin attackers really struggled, our right sides and our outsides, blocking-wise, passing-wise, and terminating balls. And I think when you look at the stats, it was glaring, and it was glaring when you watch the matches. They hit, 100, 200 at the most, and some negative, and we just can't win with your pin attackers hitting those type of percentages and blocking the way they did.
That gives us a chance. You mentioned Morgan Leach again, to go off to a video recap we shot actually in the Atlanta airport, waiting for our flight back home to Indianapolis. We'll send it to that and then be right back after this. All right, folks, coming to you from the Atlanta airport with a special treat, Morgan Leach, member of the all-tournament team this weekend. We're going to talk a little bit about the performance that allowed that to happen this weekend.
I think that as a team, we all did really well, and I don't know, I just went out and attacked, and me and Caitlin Hansen are on the all-tournament team this weekend, so it's quite an honor, I guess.
Chance to come out again next week, playing in the College of Charleston Invitational here, now going back to Indiana, getting the chance to host a similar tournament this next weekend. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're playing Wyoming, UAB, and Tennessee State. I think it's just a good chance to be home and have our home crowd and home court advantage. We really had a lot of fans last weekend, so hopefully it'll be the same. It's fun to play at home.
It's a great atmosphere last weekend. Hopefully this weekend brings more of the same. Good stuff from Morgan there, as usual, I would say. And I'm also, by the way, Coach, glad to be back here and looking fresh and cleaned and on more than X number of sleep. I was a little rough shot that video.
Well, it's nice to be able to get the kids home. You know, we had to leave very early. I think our flight was at 6:30 on Sunday morning, but it gives the kids a chance to get home. We got home by 12:30, 1 o'clock, so they had study hall treatments, massages, all those type of things, and otherwise you get home really late and they're just trying to catch themselves going, coming and going as they start school again this morning.
It makes it really easy to appreciate all that goes into the travel there.
Exactly.
I guess that takes us forward to this weekend. Mm-hmm. 3 more quality opponents, especially Wyoming and UAB, who are bookending, and then another tough game in the middle there too. Just what do you look at this weekend? A chance to be back in front of the fans at the U Gym and rebound after a 2-1 weekend.
Well, I think a really quality tournament. We've talked to the kids about, the tournaments just keep getting tougher and tougher now, and ending with North Carolina and Duke, obviously, the weekend after that. So I think, UAB and Wyoming's coming in at 6-2, UAB at 6-1, I think, or something like that. So Tennessee State's going to be a tough match on Saturday. So I think we're just going to be really prepared. We're going to play teams more like College of Charleston, even higher level of competition now. So I think this week is going to be an extremely important week into how we respond to that loss, and improving and getting better every day, I think. But I like the attitude in the locker room, and I like the attitude on the way home. I think they're determined. The attitudes are great. They still have this huge goal in front of them that they want to accomplish and can still accomplish without a problem if they keep improving. So they know it's a tough road, and they know the Big Ten is playing obviously very well right now. The Big Ten as a whole had a great weekend. So we have to step up our level every weekend because in a couple of weeks we're going to open with Minnesota and we got to be ready to go. So I'm looking forward to practice this week and the goals we have to get better at.
First step to doing that comes this weekend, comes this Friday actually, at 7 o'clock at the University Gym. If you can be there, be there. And if you cannot, we will have all 3 games from this weekend's tournament on IUHoosiers.com. I will have the call there. Coach, thanks as usual for joining us. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
That's all we got, folks. For Sherry Dunbar, I'm Pierce Cavanaugh saying good night, travel well. Thanks for watching.